Hello and welcome to my second podcast slash YouTube upload. So my name is Samantha Yardley. I am a writer and I specialise in fitness. And I wanted to share with you guys an interview that I did a couple of weeks back with a chap called Matt Green. Now, he is really lovely, fascinating to speak to, all American, in great shape, and most interestingly was protege to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Dun, dun, dun. So I don't fangirl over many people, but Arnie is obviously complete goals. Anyone who lifts anything in the gym ever is probably a little bit in love with him. I know I am. So Matt worked with him on his political campaign when he was governor of California. So didn't necessarily train with him whilst he was working underneath him. But I guess being in his presence, it would be really hard to not soak up some of that inspiration and that go-get attitude. So he underwent his own personal transformation, having been skinnier. So now he is a really prolific fitness model. He's been featured everywhere. He's great to speak to. And I love speaking to him. Hopefully you guys will enjoy the interview. I would be very grateful for a subscribe. Thanks in advance. And yeah, hopefully you like this one. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good.
How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. It's late there, right?
Yeah, it's like 6 here.
Yeah, we're just starting our day here. But yeah, everything's going good.
Okay, well, I'll try not to keep you too long then. I'll keep it concise.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm happy to chat it up. So I mean, I gave enough time. So
okay.
I'll let you lead whatever you want to talk about. We can dive into. I'm an open book to some degree. So whatever you want to chat about.
I think you used to be like a skinny kid who was bullied a little bit, right? And then you met Arnie and then got inspired and got massively ripped, right?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, a lot of people think that, and I maybe missed. So he didn't really provoke me to like actually physically lift up weights. What he did is, I was 135 pounds at 27 years old when I left working for him. I started working for him when I was 25, and then I left when I was about 28, and same weight, 135 pounds.
Oh.
But he kind of taught me that the mind is the most powerful tool on earth, and really whatever you put your mind to, you can physically achieve in life. And so I kind of took that as like, hey, look, I feel like I've always not being represented on the inside of who I was. And so I wanted to show that on the outside, and that's when I picked up weight training. I mean, I'm sure there probably was the subconscious thing of like working out, but like, to be honest, when I went to go work for him, I had no idea like about Arnold Schwarzenegger being a bodybuilder. I knew him as an actor. I mean, I knew he was a 7-time Mr. Olympia, but I had no idea like that he was like a god in the bodybuilding world. And like, you know, we would be walking like rope lines where he's shaking people's hands, like early on, like my first 2 days on the job, and men, like these big guys who are bodybuilders, they take off their shirts and I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know, and they'd be flexing and, you know, and he'd critique them. He'd be like, oh, you need to work on your biceps. You know, and he'd like give him tips and then sign the Arnold Almanac. And like, I saw this happen over and over again. And I'm like, oh, wow, like this guy totally shaped. So then I did my own research on him and like found out, obviously. And then through our 15 years now of relationships, like obviously, you know, he's been a big mentor and a friend and, you know, kind of like I call him like a step uncle because he just, when I got into my first magazine, like he saw the article, it was super proud and happy. And so it's kind of cool to see that transformation with him witness the transformation for me. So
wow, I'm just so incredibly jealous. I don't like fangirl over many people, but obviously Arnold.
See, I've never really been into like fans or like I've never been a fan or like famous people. I mean, I worked for the president and I've worked for like world leaders and I never really got, they're just people, but a lot of people love Arnold in just a particular way. So, and I think he's just like the all-American dream, right? So I think that also, especially for Europeans or other people not from America, you know, he came here with $100 in his wallet and built like $1 billion industry, his likeness, his brand. He doesn't own it all, but I mean, but like the sayings, like, you know, I'll be back, get to the chopper, you know, all that stuff. And then the after school all-star programs that he built, you know, for inner city schools kids. So there's a bunch of amazing things that he's done. And now his initiatives on global warming and, you know, in the environment. And so there's a lot of really cool things that guy achieved and has achieved and still achieves since 74. So it's pretty amazing, and he's, you know, not stopping anytime soon. So it's kind of cool to be a part of that journey. I kind of look at it. I'm so involved in it when I'm with him that I don't notice it. And then sometimes I step back, you know, when I go home and I'm like, oh, wow, like that was really, we accomplished really a lot of amazing things, you know, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of how my transformation went. I was a skinny kid. I wasn't like the fat person that lost a bunch of weight. I was a super skinny kid, even in adulthood, which affected a lot of my mental, you know, just thinking and how I picked on in Texas at an early age. I grew up in Texas. And if you didn't play sports, you were kind of like nothing. So there was a lot of bullying and picking on with that. And so I wanted to eventually change who I was, and he helped me through just seeing how he made his life happen, transform myself into the person that I wanted to be.
Sure. So it was more of a mindset thing.
Yeah, I think it's more of a mindset thing. We talk a lot, like even when I talk with him, like back in the day and even to this day, we don't talk a lot. I mean, we'll work out at Gold's together and laugh and have a fun time. But like, aside from that, when we're not, like all the years that I was with him when he was governor, we hardly talked about working out. Actually, he would reference some things like, you know, Mia Franco and all this stuff, you know, like the history of them and Conan, you know, and how he had to prepare for all that. But a lot of it was all about like, you know, business and marketing and branding. And I mean, he's a marketing genius, you know, so I think that I learned a lot of business sense and like human life skills, and just really marketing skills from the man, and how to just really be honest and true to who you are. He never changed who he was. He knew where he wanted to go, and he had a vision. And I think that says a lot. And so like, I'm a big visualizer. I like to visualize things and then make them happen. I believe in visualization a lot. It's in the keys to success with your goals.
So both with body and with your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. Is there anything else that you've taken from him?
I think, yeah, that's tough to say. Well, the thing about him just really knowing yourself and being true to it, you know, I think, like he always says, you know, the mind's the most powerful tool, but you also have to put the steps in place, right? So you have to think logically, and dream big. I think one thing is one of his big, you know, mottos that I've learned is to dream big. I mean, not necessarily like say I'm going to rule the world like that big, but like, you know, I want to own my own business one day, or I'm going to build a brand or whatever. Like, you know, don't limit yourself to your own little box, or you're just going to be in that box all your life. Kind of step out of your comfort zone. And that will force you to then make those decisions. And when you fail, you know, failing is failing, but failing is also learning that it didn't work the first time. And every successful person in life has failed. I mean, like take J.K. Rowling. She applied to like, I think 100 and so many different publishers before her books were written and published. So, you know, now she's one of the most famous authors on earth. So, you know, I think that most successful people, we only see the end result of them. They're successful, but we didn't know all the hard work that they took beforehand. And so I think one of the things I learned from him is he always tells me, you know, don't give up, Matt. You know, keep on trying and dream big. So I would say that.
Brilliant. And can you have just a tiny bit more about your backstory?
Yeah.
Just in terms of sort of how you felt when you were being bullied, and like how you feel now in comparison, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. So like I said, I grew up in Texas, you know, where football, or we call it football, was, you know, yeah, it's not soccer, but it's American football. So when American football was really big, you know, and obviously in Texas, if you don't play football, you were nothing. Like those, have you ever seen that movie like Varsity Blues or something? I don't know.
I really watch TV.
It's a movie. But long story short, it's about a town that like basically the quarterback and the football players can do anything they want, and the police let them do whatever they want. And that's actually true. It's really like if you play football, you're like a god, and so like, you know, you can do no wrong. And so not having that and not having an athletic background growing up, you know, my biceps were as big as my wrists. And, you know, I was a very lean kid. So I was, you know, bullied, called horrible names, picked on. And so, you know, that has an effect on someone. And so when I kind of dove right into my work after college, into working for the president of the United States and traveling and doing those events with him. And so I didn't really focus on a lot of the negative stuff. And I always wanted to change who I was. You know, my clothes fit kind of like saggy, and I didn't really, you know, feel I looked like I didn't look how I felt inside. And so when I started working for Arnold, halfway through working for him, a lot of the stuff that he was teaching me about my mindset and stuff kind of set in. And then it just prompted me to one day walk into a gym. I walked into the gym at 10 o'clock at night, a 24-hour fitness, and started working out. I was kind of embarrassed about how I looked. And within 6 months of working out, I saw, you know, some of the immediate kind of like, you start to see some immediate results. And then I stayed with it. And then I set a goal, literally finite goals, like it took 7 years. So every workout, every day, 7 years. And then I was picked up by My Protein, which is, you know, in the UK, as a sponsored athlete of theirs. So I tell people that are younger and or my age or whatever, you know, I get hit up all the time. Like, how did you do it? You know, it's just the daily stuff, waking up, doing it day after day. It's the never giving up attitude. And I've always had that in me. It's hard to define. I've always been very goal oriented, from, you know, being like valedictorian of my high school to whatever. Like, I've always been a very type A person. And so I just made this my new goal, and it went after it. And then it changed my life, you know, for the positive and for the negative. You know, there's, you know, people see you as kind of like an iconic, like, oh, you're so perfect, your body. But really there's a human inside, you know? And so I think some people view you as, oh, you're so materialistic, they judge you right away. Where before, when I was 135 pounds, nobody judged me at all. They got to know me as a person. So I think there's some challenges, just like probably any celebrity or any other model or fitness icon would deal with, is that, you know, people just assume that, oh, you're so arrogant, stuck up, you're so into your body. And really, I do my body for me, not for anybody else. I do it to be, you know, just to keep my mind healthy, my mental capacity. There's a lot to be said for, you know, like, I'm sure you know, the research on working out is great for your mind and for depression and anxiety and a bunch of other realms of things. And that's what a part of this workout I talk about in here is getting into the great outdoors really is invigorating for your body, and it creates a new stimulus, and it allows you to have a little bit more endorphins. And you can also see physical things, like if I'm going to push a sled, you know, down a track, I have an end goal, so you can see physical things. We're sitting in a gym curling weights, there isn't really that like finish line. So a lot of like natural athleticism is built by accomplishing goals, you know, winning a game, kicking a goal, you know, running the track to the end of the finish line. So working outdoors things kind of creates that type of environment in your mind.
Do you work out?
I hope that gave some backstory a little bit too.
Absolutely, yeah, that's perfect. Perfection, thank you. Do you prefer working outdoors to the gym?
I mean, between you and I, no. I mean, I'm a natural bodybuilder type workout, so I like structure, so it works for me. Some people get bored and are like, okay, done. Like, so I think it depends on the personality. I incorporate workouts, well, especially during COVID. I was going to a park every day and doing my band workouts and some dumbbells, and I actually loved it. I got tan, the sun, I was feeling good, you know. But after about 4 months of doing that over and over again, I'm like, I want my weights and I want my gym. So what I like to do is kind of incorporate, you know, doing my regular workouts in the gym, and then maybe once or twice a week getting out into the great outdoors and changing it up, and really, you know, changing up the body mechanics and the dynamics, and getting that fresh air and doing a workout. And so that's what I encourage people to do. If, you know, because some people, you do need, I mean, this workout can be a total workout for yourself all the time, but I think it's also good to change your body and your muscle up. So learning the fundamentals in the gym and getting the foundation built and working on that, and then also switching it up and changing up your workout to do the outdoors and build more stabilizer muscles and more core strength and compound movements. This workout's a lot about compound movements, which is going to also help build with your core and with your natural testosterone levels in your body and your natural mindset, and that helps with building endorphins and allowing for reduction in depression, more energy during the day, hyper focusing on things. So so those type of things.
Brilliant. And I've seen the workout. Would you say it was more sort of functional then?
Yeah, it's definitely it's not like I don't want to get it like a CrossFit. It's not like that. It's definitely more of a functional training. So like, pushing a sled of weights, doing battle ropes, which is working kind of your whole body. You're stabilizing your thighs, you're stabilizing your core, and you're working your arms and your shoulders. And then, pulling like a pulley system with ropes. So that they're full body workouts. Flipping tires, that's working kind of the whole body. And then like I do, there's I don't know if you've seen the photos, but there's like carrying logs and doing lunges and things. So, I mean, there's some really cool, and then, the sledgehammer thing. So what I did is a while back when I thought of this, I said, like, we are so focused in on going to an air conditioned gym, working out, going back to our day jobs of sitting 9 to 5. And what I realized is my grandfather's generation didn't have any of that, right? They did manual labor jobs, blue collar jobs. And so I wanted to create a workout that focused in on the old school style manual labor jobs of our grandfather's generation, the old industrial revolution, where they baled hay. So I like throwing a wall ball against a wall is symbolism of baling hay. Sledgehammer pulls are like, kind of like doing any type of a jackhammer movement or chopping wood, or, building a railroad. Pushing a sled is like pushing heavy objects, in a warehouse, or, flipping tires is like, having to fix your tire back in the day when you didn't have the emergency button to call roadside assistance, and, those type of things. So, or even tractor work, in the farm, having to work on tires and stuff. So I created all these workouts because those people lived pretty healthy lives. They lived pretty long time. They didn't work out in a gym because that wasn't a thing back in 1940s and 50s. That was during the 60s and 70s that Arnold brought it up to life. And they still stayed pretty fit. There wasn't a highly obese population.
Absolutely.
They eat healthy. So it kind of changed, the trend changed when, obviously that's another conversation, but when fast food industry came in there and people thought the Arnolds were the freaks of the day and were, what is this working out thing? And then the whole, working from the computer and sit down and the stationary movements. So when that transition happened from workforce in the corporate world versus the industrial revolution and hard manual labor jobs, I think you see the difference in obesity changing and those jobs. So I kind of wanted to bring that back to bring back to your basics, bring back to the roots, and really get, some of that old school workout in.
Love that.
My motivation in this is just kind of like, by doing these workouts, you might not look like me in the photos, but if you're doing it and you're doing your best, then that's all I ask for.
Lovely. Can I ask how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 40.
It's just, you look so young.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I was born in 1979. Wow. I'll show you my ID to prove it. Yeah, so I'm 40 years old. I'll turn 41 in November. So.
Okay, lovely. Happy birthday for them.
Well, thanks. Yeah, no, I attribute to that a lot of eating healthy. I think a lot of people ask me because they're like, you look young. And I'm like, I think it's just, I've always eaten healthy. Like as a kid, I eat vegetables. I love vegetables. I think, 70 people ask me like, Matt, how do you stay so lean or ripped or whatever? And I mean, I don't year round, like I don't look like my photo necessarily now. I'm not like shredded on my abs, but like I do have abs and I do maintain that kind of year round. And it's really like 70% of the physique is done in the kitchen, and like what you're eating and what you're putting in your body and how often you do that and the timing of that. And then also really spending, I work out 6 days a week. So, I can afford a cheat meal. I can afford a donut or whatever on a weekend for a dessert or something, or, for breakfast. So there's those type of things that I think when people see it on social media, they're seeing all these fit people and they're eating pizzas and all this stuff. I think it kind of gives a misleading message because those people have achieved a really high standard of their physique,
Mm-hmm.
that they're so religious about the 6 meals they eat during the day that they're not showing you, that then the massive pizza and the sushi that they're all eating kind of gives a misleading thing of like, hey, they can eat that and still have 6-pack abs. Well, not really. If you're doing that every day, all day, then you cannot have 6-pack abs and a ripped physique. So I think there's, yeah.
So this magazine is going to be launching in winter. So can you give any advice for people to encourage them outdoors when it's a bit colder and a bit darker and things?
Yeah. I still encourage people to get out. So what I do is obviously there's a difference in life, in the area, like in the cities and then outdoors and the, further out in the countryside. But even for the urban folks living in this, find an alleyway that isn't, covered by, I would first of all encourage, if you're going to work out outdoors in the winter, first warm up. So do dynamic stretching and run, like do a quick run around the park, get your muscles warmed up, because you don't want to do an exercise and then get them cramped and hurt yourself. So key for outdoor workouts in the wintertime is to warm up by running, cycling, getting a quick jog, and then do dynamic stretches, not static stretches. So dynamically stretching out and then get into the workout. A lot of these things can be done. You can find an alleyway and flip a tire. You can still do battle ropes. You can do burpees and jumping jacks. You can do lunges in the winter time. I think it is important to still get outside because you breathe in that fresh, cold air. Now, if you have heart problems, heart conditions, cardiovascular problems, then I would encourage you to not necessarily do that. But for the normal, healthy, active person or healthy person, I can still encourage you to do that, and then in the summer months when it's super hot, after your workout, go for a deep plunge in a pool or go do your cardio in the pool, because it's a low impact workout. Your buoyancy in the water is great for being low impact cardio on the joints. So kind of those type of things I would encourage you to still do. And you're doing once a week, twice a week at most. So still go to the gym, do your workouts, but maybe twice a week, try to get out into the great outdoors and do a version of this if you can.
Okay, that's brilliant.
All righty.
It was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.